Well, listen, it's really important that we come on early because I just wanted to let you know we are going to turn Gaza into a big, beautiful strip of land that's going to have Trump towers, Trump apartments, Trump restaurants, Trump everything.
Trumporama. It's going to be like, it'll be like Trump World, like Disney World, but Trump World.
I've already seen the sign for Trump Gaza. Like they've already been doing like renditions of that shit, which is even more amazing because the thing about MAGA, and we know plenty of MAGA people, and a lot of them are good people, but there is also the cult portion of MAGA that cannot be denied. And there are people who would be saying if Biden and Harris were doing the shit that Trump is trying to do right now, they wouldn't be going along with it. But because Trump is doing it, then that makes it okay.
Nothing makes any of it okay. We're so far from okay. We passed okay, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe more. We passed okay a long time ago. But what he said, it goes between like, yeah, on the one hand, it's infuriating, but on the other hand, it's absurd. Also, he's not going to be able to do that. I'd also, if we want to talk about that now, I'd like to call attention to the number that he used. I thought I heard him say 1.3 million people.
I believe he said 1.3 million, which means that as many as 900,000 Palestinians could be mass murdered.
That's the thing. And he, from my understanding, he was reading from a script. So he wasn't winging it. That number was written down. So that's how many people they estimate would have to be relocated. So that means they're acknowledging almost 1 million people dead.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So the whole thing. But the idea that he said, well, we'll just get Jordan and Egypt to take them, as if he's such this like amazing businessman negotiator. Like no one's ever thought of that before. It was such a good idea. No, stupid head. I feel like Tim Black.
No, the one thing with Trump.
No, that can't happen because those states have repeatedly rejected that idea, as have the Palestinians. It's not going to happen.
I think it's going to come to a head very quickly because Trump does not want blood on his hands. I hearken it back to the al-Satiri, who was really, he was mobbed up. He was connected to the mob. Al-Satiri, Al-Latiri, excuse me. He played Sollozzo in the original Godfather. And he's the guy who wanted to move in on Don Corleone's territory. And so he wanted to deal the narcotics within New York and other places. And, Don Corleone didn't want any part of that. But of course, from Sollozzo's perspective, it's like, but this is business. This is good for business. And he specifically says to Robert Duvall's character, he said, I don't want to do this, Tom. I'm a businessman. Blood is a big expense.
Well, I agree. And I don't think he's never like, I don't think that, but he is very beholden to people that do. So that's sort of the problem. But at the end of the day,
But Trump has backed himself into a corner that he's not going to be a violent president. That's not his intent. And he knows that his legacy could very well hinge on whether or not he does this the right way. Now, he may really believe in his mind that he can negotiate between the Palestinians and the Israelis. Like he might really believe in his mind that that's possible.
Oh, I think that he believes he's going to get Jordan and Egypt to take them in and then they'll give them nice places to live. They'll build their settlements and all will be great. Which is, again, it's between infuriating and absurd because it's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. And at the end of the day, even if you forcibly remove it will be, let me tell you something. You wait till our Marines are coming home in body bags. Wait until that starts happening because you will not defeat Hamas unless you literally just nuke the whole place. Like that's it. You're not going to be able to win in any sort of like on the ground situation there. That's not going to happen. And it's going to get ugly.
Here's what the negotiator in chief had to say.
We'll take over the Gaza Strip. And we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs.
How are you going to do that?
This is how he just thinks, we'll own it. No question as to how you can own it when it's not yours. It's not for sale. Like you can't just say you own something, right? Like right off the bat, that's just Totally dumb. And by the way, when he was talking, Netanyahu, his body language was completely off. Like, he's like, we never agreed to give you Gaza.
Which may be true. And the other thing that I think is being completely lost here, and this is the naivete on Trump's part and any other real estate developer's part, because it's true. You know, even people that are MAGA have to explain to other MAGA, it's like, if you're America first, it's not our job to make other people agree to our way of life. You know, you can't, there's a lot of people in MAGA who understand the flaws in capitalism, and they're recognizing that in real time. If you even attempt to develop, you might be able to extract the natural gas out of Gaza, but even that's debatable. If you even attempt to westernize that strip, do you know what type of terror attacks that area is going to be subject to going forward?
It's never going to get this far. Like, that's the problem. I don't know if you saw, but I read like a series of responses from leaders and foreign diplomats around the world. And
President Xi of China.
They're not having it.
He already immediately came out and said, we're with Palestine.
Yeah, they're not having it. This is going to end very badly for us. And he doesn't want to look bad.
No.
And at the end of the day.
And you see those two flags right behind him? Let me tell you something, Donnie. You keep this shit up, and those are the only two flags.
Okay, now normally I 1,000% agree whenever I see another flag. However, this is because Netanyahu is in the room, and whoever else was in the room, whatever other foreign nation, it would be that flag because they're speaking at a joint conference. Okay. So even though I am opposed to us affiliating with them, if he were having a joint conference with, pick your country, France, then and Macron was there, he'd have that would be both their flags. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe so, but it's the look. It's
horrible. And Travers wants to know why there's a swastika. Good question. Because we're Nazis? I don't know.
Maybe. Let's finish it out.
Bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job. Do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years.
I'm so livid with the whole.
This is also an example of where his class privilege is really showing. A person who just completely does not understand a person's mindset, who has nothing and is content to have nothing because it is a blood oath to protect the land of Palestine.
He doesn't understand caring about anything greater than himself. So that first and foremost puts him out of the understanding of Palestinians. But him and his ilk, they are so fucking ignorant about Palestinian people, and the idea that you're going to create policy in an area and not even know who the people are. The Palestinian people are inextricably connected to their land. The fact that he thinks you could just bomb it and raise it like it's just a heap of rubble to be, that's the history of that land, which is why we know that Israel is not the true steward of that land, because if they were, they would love that land and they wouldn't be destroying it. So this is the problem. And what he wants to do in Gaza, it's no longer than what it is. He wants to turn it into friggin' Monte Carlo.
He has that illusion in his mind that can be possible, but
it isn't. But it isn't.
It can't be done.
No,
and it won't be done. And that is the thing. And they're all going to be like, "Oh, well, listen, they'll let you build, and the second you're done building will be when they decide to take action." Trump doesn't understand that Israel is going to destroy itself. Mm-hmm. It's already in the process. The entire world wants them shut out. It is almost too obvious at this point that they have nowhere else to go. And when it continues, you have been saying for a year now, when they said it was 20,000, 30,000, you said, no. They're going to wipe out the majority of the population, and I
still believe that will happen ultimately. Again, we're still talking about a place that has no infrastructure, no clean water, limited food, and no healthcare, no antibiotics. Women are giving birth like in dirt with no sterilization stuff. You've got people having limbs amputated. Like these things don't, like, you can't, that can't go on. I've said for the longest time, this is not ending without a couple million dead people.
Well, the perfect conclusion to this segment actually is the clip that you sent me earlier, because this guy just did a great job of explaining.
Did you like that?
I thought it was really good.
Okay, so guys,
China is going to take over the Palisades and own it. They're going to occupy this land and build unlimited amounts of housings and provide jobs for people in the area. They said that Mexico and Canada are going to take in the people from the Palisades while they rebuild that land. That area is absolutely devastated, and the Palestinian people don't actually want to return to their land.
The Palestinians. I mean, talk about a great play on words there. That was well done.
The Palestinian people.
Cheers.
But the reason they're not leaving is because there's no other option. Many countries have reached out to China willing to take in the Palestinian people, so they'll be fine. But what's important is to get the people out of the Palisades as soon as possible, because it's too dangerous there. There's too many fires, too much looting, and China needs to rebuild this alone. Something has to be different in the Palisades, or else it's just going to be the same way it's been for the last 100 years. China has said this land is beautiful when it's cleaned up, of course, and it can be built with beachfront properties. I think we should be grateful to China, because the people of the Palisades now can never go home, and they don't want to go home, so thank you, China. Now, my hope for this is it will be part of a larger peace process that will end a tariff war between China and the U.S. and the animosity between these two countries.
It's just funny to me. The Palisadians.
Not just the whole play on words, but it's so true.
It is, right. It would be like China came over and said, we're gonna own this, we'll fix it up for you, and we'll displace you to the countries right next to you in the meantime. It is. That's exactly how ridiculous it sounds.
And that is the lunacy of just thinking that this is acceptable behavior, which of course it isn't. And this is also the issue with American exceptionalism that I really think people are pretending doesn't exist. Like, we do think that we have the right to kick ass and take names, and we've been able to get away with it for a long time. But now that we have competition, and we accelerated.
Yeah, guys in the chat, that's exactly what it was. It kind of all happened fast because Peter kind of put it up there and didn't give me a little chance to intro it. But that was a video that came up. I saw it on my Instagram and I forwarded it to him. That was so funny, where basically a guy is saying that now that the Palisades have been completely annihilated, probably should have played that for Ron now that he's here. But now that the Palisades are eviscerated, China is going to come in. They're going to own the Palisades. They're going to relocate the Palestinians to Canada and Mexico. We're going to get Canada and Mexico to take the Palestinians while we rebuild their property. And they don't want to come back anyway. So thank you to China. That was the gist. And yes, it's ridiculous.
No, we're totally doing business with China. It'll be really great. We're going to do great work. You'll see. Yeah, we'll see, Donnie. Like you said, and I've been saying, his presidency is good. Like, his first 100 days truly will define his legacy. Like, this
what he's saying he wants to do, and what he's able to do, and I don't mean just legally able to do, because I gave up on that protecting us a long time ago, but what he's physically able to do, right? Are two.
There is no art of the deal here.
No. And the thing is, like, in order for him to do what he's even suggesting he does, would absolutely 1,000% require boots on the ground of our people. And from the people I was listening to today, I was doing a lot looking into this, like Scott Ritter and Larry Wilkerson. You're talking, we would have to have about 300,000 people at the ready right now to be handling this situation in Gaza. And that just does not exist. And no one in our military at any higher level would agree to putting people in that condition for a place that does not in any way affect American security.